I am the supreme devil lord of the cultivation world. Yet I transmigrated into the real young master in a true and false young master novel. My parents wanted to give me a hard time when they first came back. Tell that to my soul-seizing art. The fake young master is being all tea-like and pretentious. My palm is already itching. The fake young master framed me and wanted me to donate a kidney. At most, I'll donate a devil soul for my myriad souls banner, but the interest will be all of your souls. Fake young master, even if your parents have mistreated you, can't you be a little more generous and forgive them? I sneered, forgive? Forgiveness is God's business. My task is to make sure they never even meet God. Ha ha, this Taoist has succeeded. Succeeded. After tens of millions of years of cultivation, this venerable one is finally about to break through to the supreme being of all worlds. Ah, ha. I stood on Myriad Devil Mountain, looking at the terrifying lightning in the sky, laughing madly, venting my emotions. After countless millions of years of cultivation, I finally reached the peak of the tribulation transcendent stage. As long as I break through the thunder tribulation, I can ascend and become a god. A bolt of lightning struck down, and everything went black before my eyes, and I lost consciousness. When I opened my eyes again, I found that the scenery around me had become very strange. Two middle-aged men were standing in front of me, looking at me with expressions of disgust. "Old Zhang, are you sure this is my biological son?" One of them pointed at me and asked the other with suspicion, "Are you sure he's not some crazy person who wandered in?" The other shook his head in agreement. "Mr. Lin, the DNA comparison results are absolutely certain. It's just that the child's growing environment seems to have some problems, and his behavior is a little strange. You and Mrs. Lin should put in more effort to teach him." Although I didn't know who they were, I could clearly hear the obvious disgust in their words. "Oomph. How dare you insult me like this? You have already chosen your own death." Thinking this, I clenched my fist in one hand, ready to tear them into pieces. Ding! Soul compatibility detected, starting binding. 10%, 50%, 100%. Binding successful. Welcome, host, to the world of the novel, true, and false young master. Daddy, love me one more time. This system is the family affection warming system, dedicated to serving you. Main mission released. Expose the conspiracy of the fake young master, lynching you, and gain the sincere love and recognition of her biological parents, Lin Haifeng and Suwon. Mission success reward. Return to the original world and fulfill one wish of the host. Mission failure/refusal to execute. The system will immediately obliterate the host's soul. Please, host, work hard to reshape family affection and reach the peak of life. System, novel world, true and false young master, family affection mission, obliteration. What is all this? Just as I was in a daze, a large amount of information began to flood into my mind. This was indeed a so-called novel world. Lin Chao, which is the original body that I transmigrated into, is the real young master who was lost. In the original story, after being brought back home from the slums, he was framed by the fake young master in various ways, and was abused and looked down upon by his parents and sister. But he has always helped them selflessly, treated them well, and wanted to regain their family affection. But only when he was coerced into donating a kidney to the fake young master and died in the hospital did they suddenly realize their mistakes. I looked at the plot in my mind and had a bit of headache. What is all this? There really are idiots in this world who suppress their own son for the sake of their adopted son. And this Lin Chao is also a fool. Others treat you like this, yet you still go out of your way to make yourself miserable. But since I'm here, all of this is no longer a problem. I followed Su Hai into the Su family's villa, which was as luxurious as a show home, but lacked any warmth. The crystal lights shone with a cold light, reflecting several faces with different expressions. The original owner's biological mother, Zhao Man, was sitting on the sofa, her eyes lingering for a moment on the faded old coat I was wearing, then shifting away with disgust, as if it had touched something dirty. Sister Su Wan leaned against the stairs with her arms crossed, her eyes full of undisguised contempt. And sitting on the sofa was the fake young master, Su Chun, his eyes red, as if he was trying to suppress great sadness. He stood up, his voice choked with just the right amount of emotion. "Dad, is this brother? You're finally reunited. That's great. I'll go pack my things. I shouldn't stay here and get in the way." As he spoke, he pretended to go upstairs, his steps faltering and his body swaying. "Xiao Chun," Zhao Man immediately exclaimed, stood up abruptly, grabbed Su Chen's hand tightly, dragged him back to her side, and hugged him with heartache. "What are you talking about? This is your home. Where can you go? You are the son we love the most." I watched this scene and marveled. What a touching display of family affection. How wonderful it would be if this was made into a subduing goo. While comforting Su Chun by patting his back, she raised her head, glared at me fiercely, and said in a sharp voice, "It's all your fault. You've only just returned, and you've already turned the house upside down. Look at you, what have you done to Xiao Chun? We finally raised him so well, his health has just gotten a little better, and you come to provoke him. Are you deliberately trying to make our family miserable?" Suwon also sneered and chimed in, "Mom, don't be angry. What's the point of talking to a wild child who grew up in the backwoods without anyone to teach him? Does he even know what family affection or decency is? He probably only knows how to compete and thinks that everyone owes him as soon as he comes back, and he can't wait to drive Xiao Chen away. Hold on, why is this my fault? This family's bias is really beyond my expectations." Su Hai frowned and watched the farce, and said to me in a deep voice, "Lin Xiao, look, ever since you came back, this is what this family has become. Quickly apologize to your brother and tell him that you didn't mean it." Su Chen leaned on Zhao Man's shoulder, secretly looking at me, revealing waves of smugness. I stood in place, smiling as I watched Su Chen's provocation. This routine is much lower than those heart demons in the demon realm who only know how to fight and kill. It's nothing more than relying on favoritism and playing some tricks with emotions that can't be brought to the table. Compete? This mortal wealth isn't worthy of the supreme devil lord. Competing for it? I slowly raised my hand, not to apologize, but to lightly brush away non-existent dust from my cuff. In my sleeve, the myriad souls banner sensed my thoughts and sent a chilling tremor. Imprisoned within were the souls of countless powerful cultivators and demons. At this moment, they also seemed to be interested in the weak but malicious soul before them. That's right, I was surprised to find on the way that my cultivation and magic weapons had also been inherited. My original plan was to cultivate first, get my cultivation back before I started causing trouble, but I found that all my cultivation was still there. I think it should be because the system hasn't been able to fully restrict me yet. My gaze swept past the strident Zhao Man, past the scornful Su Wan, past the seemingly helpless but actually indulgent Su Hai, and finally fixed on Su Chen's face, which was still fragilely sobbing, the corner of my mouth curving into an extremely faint but chilling arc. As if sensing the killing intent I was emitting, the system in my body actually issued a warning at this time. Warning: detecting that the host has a strong intention to destroy the family members of the mission target. Behavior severely deviates from the family affection warming main line. Please, host, abandon your thoughts and try to return to the main line, and do not harm the host relatives. Otherwise, the mission will directly fail. All right. I gradually suppressed my killing intent. It wasn't that I was scared by the so-called system's punishment, but I simply found it very interesting. I've been too bored for tens of millions of years. Since I'm here, I might as well find something interesting to play with. The system's mechanical voice rang sharply in my mind, carrying a kind of unquestionable power of rules. Apologize? Sense of belonging? The cold smile on my heart grew even stronger. This nonsensical system actually dared to attempt to bind the will of the Supreme Devil Lord. In my long life, the existences that tried to set rules for me, whether they were immortals or demons, gods or Buddhas, have all become a whale in my myriad souls banner. I chuckled lightly. ignoring the warning in my mind. Seeing that I not only didn't panic and apologize, but instead showed such a disdainful expression, the smugness in Su Chen's eyes froze slightly. And then he performed even harder, covering his chest and coughing violently, as if he had suffered a great injustice. Mom, brother, does he hate me even more now? I should still leave. Don't go. Zhao Man hugged him tightly and turned to glare at me, her voice shrill and ear-piercing. Look at you, this wretched appearance. What sins did our Lin family commit to find a thing like you? Can't even say a human word? Quickly apologize to your brother. Suwan also stepped forward and pointed at my nose. Lin Chao, don't be shameless. You don't have the right to be arrogant in this family. Su Hai's face was livid, and he was obviously extremely dissatisfied with my refusal to appreciate his kindness. He said in a deep voice, Lin Chao, I'll say it one last time, apologize. Otherwise, don't blame me for using family rules. Family rules? I was a little curious. What kind of cruel punishments could this mortal family have? I looked at them with interest, as if watching a clumsy shadow play. At this time, I thought of an interesting idea that could make this play even more interesting. Soul searching is too overbearing. It might damage the fragile mortal soul. If I really kill him, I won't have anything to play with. But this simple mind inducement art, to arouse the deepest fears and evil thoughts in his heart, is enough. Su Chun suddenly let out a terrified scream. He pushed Zhao Man away violently, pointed at me as if he had seen a ghost, his face pale. Ghost? There's a ghost. He has shadows on him. Many shadows are crying. He wants to kill me. He really wants me to die. He spoke incoherently, with tears streaming down his face, crawling backwards with both his hands and feet, looking extremely strange. Zhao Man and Su Wan were both stunned. Xiao Chun, what's wrong with you? Don't scare Mom. Zhao Man wanted to pull him. Don't come over. Don't come over. And you want me to die too. I know everything. Su Chan fell into madness, his eyes unfocused, obviously being backlashed by the darkest thoughts in his heart and a trace of aura escaping from the myriad souls banner. You bastard. It's all your fault. You made Xiao Chun like this as soon as you came back. Zhao Man hugged Su Chun in her arms, glaring at me angrily, as if Su Chen's current madness was caused by me. Well, it seems like I really did it. Who cares? They don't know. After who knows how long, I looked at Su Chen's mad scene, and I suddenly lost interest. Gradually stopped the mind-drawing technique. Su Chun had already fainted. They rushed to send Su Chun to the hospital, but before leaving, they even threatened to make me wait. After they left, I felt bored, even a bit tired. I don't understand why I'm tired with such a high level of cultivation. Maybe it's because of this body. Butler, I called out lazily. A middle-aged man in a sharp suit, his hair meticulously combed, appeared from some corner, a standard, yet completely emotionless, respectful smile on his face. He was the Lin family's butler, named Wang. In the original owner's memory, this man had often joined Su Chun and his mother in ridiculing and backstabbing the original owner. Young master, what are your orders? He bowed slightly, appearing extremely respectful, but the contempt in his eyes couldn't be hidden. I'm tired. Where's my room? I asked directly. Butler Wang's face showed just the right amount of embarrassment. Young Master Chow, I'm truly sorry. Your return was sudden, and Madam hasn't had time to prepare a room for you. You see. He turned sideways, pointing to a small room at the end of the first-floor hallway. How about you temporarily make do in the storage room tonight? I'll have someone make up a temporary bed for you right away. I looked in the direction he was pointing, and I could vaguely see cleaning tools and boxes piled up through the crack in the door. Trying to pull this on me? The initiation hasn't even finished yet, huh? I laughed in anger. Oh, such a big villa, doesn't even have a spare guest room. Butler Wang scratched his head and said, Of course, there are guest rooms, but they need to be cleaned and tidied in advance, and right now I'm afraid. The storage room is better than a guest room that hasn't been cleaned. What a load of bull. I was too lazy to listen to his nonsense and interrupted him directly. Where's Su Chin's room? Butler Wong's expression changed slightly, clearly not expecting me to be so direct. Young Master Chin's room is on the east side of the second floor, but lead the way, I said in a calm tone, but with an undeniable air of authority. Butler Wong stood his ground, his body slightly tense, trying to stop me. Young Master, that's not proper. That's young Master Chin's bedroom, and without Madam's permission, no one can. Before he could finish speaking, I lost my patience. With a slight thought, a faint, but for mortals earth-shattering pressure, precisely enveloped him. Butler Wong didn't even understand what had happened before he fell heavily to the floor on his knees. Then with a wah sound, a mouthful of blood sprayed out, staining the floor in front of him red. Now, is it proper? I looked down at him, as if looking at an ant. This old bastard bullies others, has a dirty mind. If not for that damn task, just based on his thoughts just now, I would have extracted his soul and refined it, letting him taste the torment of 10,000 souls devouring him. I ignored the butler collapsed on the ground and went straight up to the second floor, found the bedroom with the best lighting and the most luxurious decor. Pushing open the door, I looked around. The room was large, with a walk-in closet and private bathroom, filled with various limited edition sneakers and figurines. I looked at this scene. TSK, really willing to spend. No wonder he's the Su family's young master. I rolled up my sleeves and began to move. I walked to the closet, opened the door, and pulled out all the clothes and shoes inside in one go. I threw them out of the open window at will, scattering them on the lawn below. Then, there were all kinds of ornaments and limited edition models on the desk, and various photos on the bedside table. One piece, and another piece. I cleaned up all traces of Su Chan from this room completely, like clearing garbage. Clothes, accessories, collectibles. Flew out of the second floor window, covering the entire lawn in a mess. I vaguely heard the exclamations and commotion from the servants downstairs, but no one dared to come up to stop me. After clearing out all the unsightly things, I patted the non-existent dust off my hands, walked to the bed large enough to accommodate 3 or 4 people rolling around, and fell straight back on it. I don't know how long I slept, but I was awakened by a sharp cry and cursing outside the door. My Xiao Chun, my poor child. That damn Jinx, he hurt you like this as soon as he came back. Mom, stop crying. The doctor said Xiao Chun needs to rest. Rest? How can he rest in this house? That bastard is still here. Did he take Xiao Chin's room? What right does he have? Dad, Mom, you must stand up for me. Brother, does he want me to die? The noisy sound stirred up a burst of irritability in my heart. These ants dare to disturb my sweet dreams. I threw off the covers, opened the door with a gloomy face, leaned on the railing of the second floor, and looked down at the hall below. Su Chun had bandages wrapped around his head, a pale face, leaning on Zhao Man's arms, sobbing softly. Su Wan and Su Hai stood next to him with angry faces, and there were also several bodyguards in black suits standing next to him, obviously just brought back. Butler Wong stood aside with his hands down, his face still a little pale. It seemed that he was accusing my actions. Seeing me come out, everyone's eyes instantly focused on me. Zhao Man, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on, pointed at me and shouted sharply, "Lin Chao, you beast! Look at what you've done to Xiao Chun. The doctor said he suffered extreme mental stimulation. You still dare to take his room? Get down here. Kneel down and apologize to Xiao Chun. Then get out of this house." Su Hai's face was livid, his eyes cold. "Lin Chao, I'll give you one last chance. Come down yourself. Apologize to Xiao Chun and your mother. Then obediently stay in the storage room. Otherwise, don't blame me for using family law to make you suffer." Su Chun looked up, tears in his eyes. His tea skills were still excellent. "Dad, Mom, sister, don't blame brother. It's all my fault. I shouldn't have taken brother's life. Brother hating me is right. As long as brother can feel better, I'll do anything." As he spoke, he coughed weakly a few times, as if he would faint at any moment. Su Wan hugged Su Chun in distress, glaring at me. "Lin Chao, did you hear that? Xiao Chun is still speaking for you. Is your heart so cruel? They said one sentence after another, noisy and unbearable, like a swarm of flies buzzing around rotting meat. I picked my ears and slowly walked down the stairs. Finished. I walked up to them. My eyes swept over these hypocritical faces and finally landed on Su Chen's face, who was still performing brotherly love. If you're done, shut up. You're disturbing my sleep. Su Chen seemed to be stimulated by my attitude, and maybe felt that with his parents and bodyguards present, I wouldn't really dare to do anything to him. So he continued to say with a sob, "Brother, I know you hate me, but Mom and Dad are innocent. You can do anything to me. Don't make them angry anymore." Before he could finish speaking, I just felt that the noise in my ears had reached the extreme. I took a deep breath. Indulgence brings a reputation. Take a step back. I'll kick your ass back. The next second, my figure appeared in front of Su Chen like a ghost, without warning. The speed was so fast that no one reacted. A crisp and loud slap hit Su Chen's face, which was full of hypocrisy. Without using spiritual power, only 1/1000th of my physical strength, but it was enough to deal with this mortal body. Under everyone's terrified gaze, Su Chen's entire body was like a spinning top that had been slapped hard, his feet off the ground, spinning rapidly in the air for a full 3.5 weeks, and the wind he caused even messed up Zhao Man's hair. Then, with a loud bang, he crashed heavily into the wall a few meters away. Centered on him, a clear human-shaped pit sunken into it. Gravel and dust rustled down. Su Chen slid to the ground like a pile of mud, curled up together, not even humming, and fainted directly. His face was swollen like a pig's head, blood spilled from the corners of his mouth, and he looked extremely miserable. Of course, he won't die. The moment he hit the wall, a trace of imperceptible spiritual energy had already enveloped him, protecting his heart and main bones. It just looked serious. After all, I haven't had enough fun yet. It wouldn't be fun to kill him now. Xiao Chun, brother, Zhao Man and Su Wan let out heart-rending screams and pounced over, rolling and crawling. Su Hai's eyes were splitting. His hands trembled as he pointed at me. You unfilial son. Beast. You dare to hit him. You're rebelling. You're rebelling. Get him. Break his legs. I'll take responsibility for what happens. Although the bodyguards were startled by my speed and strength just now, they had to brace themselves and rush towards me since their employer had spoken. I glanced at them, feeling a little bored. My eyes casually swept across and saw a pen that I had thrown out of the room on the ground. I bent down to pick it up, weighed it in my hand. Then, I threw it casually at the ground in front of the feet of the bodyguard who was rushing in the front. The pen turned into a black light, shot out like a cannonball, and accurately hit the ground in front of his toes. With a loud bang, a basin-sized hole was blown open in the hard marble floor, gravel splashed everywhere, and the powerful shock wave even staggered the bodyguards who were rushing over, almost falling. Everyone froze, including Zhao Man and Su Wan, who were about to cry, and the furious Su Hai. The bodyguards looked at the smoking hole in the ground, then looked at me, and the blood instantly drained from their faces. I looked at Su Hai, who was pale, with a playful arc at the corner of my mouth. Didn't you want to teach me a lesson? Come on. Su Hai's lips trembled, looking at the hole in the ground, and then, at my emotionless eyes, a chill ran from the soles of his feet straight to the top of his head. The bodyguards he brought were probably not enough to fill my teeth. He stood on the spot, afraid to move. The bodyguards were even more tight-lipped, not to mention going forward, they didn't even dare to breathe loudly. Boring. Looking at their cowardly appearance, I felt bored. I turned to leave, but at this time, the system's voice appeared in my mind. Attention, attention, the host's behavior has aggravated the hatred of the parents. This development may lead to mission failure. Please correct the host immediately. I waved my hand dismissively. Don't worry, everything is under my control. Saying that, he went back to his room without looking back. Putting Su Chen in the hospital should make things quiet. I'm such a genius. The next morning, I was awakened by hunger. After routinely complaining about this mortal body, I left my room. As expected, Zhao Man and Su Wan were eating breakfast. In the dining room, Zhao Man and Su Wan were sitting at the table. Su Hai was nowhere to be seen. The table was set with an exquisite breakfast: fried eggs, bacon, milk, and coffee. There was a good variety, but the portions were just right, clearly for two people. Su Wan put down her milk glass, making a crisp clink. She didn't look at me, but her words were directed at me. Her voice wasn't loud, but it was clear enough, carrying a lingering venom and deliberate disdain. "Oh, look who's up, still treating yourself like a young master here to enjoy the good life? No manners at all, making the whole family wait for you." I ignored their sarcasm and sat down on my own. "Where's mine?" Zhao Man finally deigned to turn her head and look at me, her eyes overflowing with disgust. She acted as if she'd heard a joke and exaggeratedly raised her voice. "Yours? What's yours? Lin Chao, you hurt Xiao Chun so badly, and he's still lying in the hospital. How dare you sit here and ask us for breakfast? What give you the nerve?" Su Wan chuckled, put down her knife and fork, and wiped her mouth with a napkin. Her movements were elegant, but her words were extremely harsh. "Mom, what's the point of talking to him? If he had an ounce of shame, he wouldn't have done something so beastly yesterday. Starving him to teach him a lesson is letting him off easy. The Lin family doesn't support trash, let alone enemies." They took turns speaking, as if standing on a moral high ground, judging me. All right, so this is how you want to play it." "Fine," I said with a smile. "Since you won't let me eat, then." "No one eats." I flipped the table. The dishes, glasses, knives, and forks on the table jumped, collided, and fell wildly. Milk and coffee splashed out all over them. Fried eggs and bacon fell to the floor. The entire living room was a mess. Zhao Man and Su Wan were startled by the sudden turn of events and screamed, scrambling to get away. But the hems of their skirts were still stained by the splattered mess. You're a madman. Are you trying to rebel?" Zhao Man pointed at me, her voice shrill and cracking. "Rebel," I scoffed, walking towards her step by step. The suffocating pressure around me spread out again. I stopped in front of Zhao Man, close enough to see the fine lines of fear on her face. "Zhao Man," I said, calling her by name. My voice wasn't loud, but it had a chilling quality that pierced the soul. "Are you mistaken about something? I'm not sitting here to beg for your charity, let alone to accept your ridiculous family rules and discipline. Warning. The host's actions are jeopardizing the mission. Please, shut up." Before the system could finish speaking, I forced it to be silent. It had been a long time since I'd been so angry. "So, where's my breakfast? Where is it?" I looked at the cook and asked in a sinister tone. The cook was frightened by my gaze and stammered. Madam specifically instructed me not to make the young master's meal, saying that you should reflect on your actions." "Oh, really?" I was already annoyed by the various discomforts of this useless body, and they had to go looking for death. I turned back to stare at Zhao Man. What are you going to do? You go make me breakfast." Zhao Man looked at me in disbelief. "What did you say? Me? Make you breakfast? Are you crazy? I'm your mother." Su Wan also said angrily, "That's right, Lin Chao, you. Hurry up and go." I roared. Soul word. Before they could finish speaking, I used my ability to force Zhao Man into the kitchen. This wasn't complete control, but rather manipulation and suggestion from the depths of the soul. That is, she knew exactly what she had to do, but couldn't stop herself from doing it. Then I sat down on the stool and directed Su Wan, "You go lift the table." "Yes." Su Wan responded and walked to the overturned table, using her strength to lift it up and place it in front of me. A dozen minutes later, Zhao Man's breakfast was also ready. I sat leisurely on the stool, eating breakfast. As for Zhao Man and Su Wan, I released the control, but used a small amount of pressure to keep them kneeling on the ground. I even used spiritual energy to seal their mouths, preventing them from cursing me. After this incident, they never provoked me at home again. To be exact, they never came back. But that was fine. I was happy to be alone. As for the mission, since there was no time limit anyway, I didn't need to panic. Half a month later, The quiet days were broken by the sound of a key turning in the lock. I was sitting cross-legged on the living room sofa, seemingly meditating with my eyes closed, watching TV. You have to say, the people in this little world know how to enjoy themselves. This thing is really nice. The door opened. Su-hai led the way, with Zhao Man helping and pushing Su-chun, who was in a wheelchair. Su-hai took off his coat and sat on the single sofa opposite me, trying to appear natural and projecting a father's authority, but his eyes flickered and he lacked confidence. Zhao Man and Su-chun sat close together on the long sofa, while Su-wan leaned against the antique display shelf, looking down at me. Lin Chao. Su-hai cleared his throat and spoke first. Now that the whole family is here, some things need to be made clear. I didn't even lift my eyelids and lazily hummed. My attitude clearly angered Su-wan, and she snorted coldly. Dad, look at his attitude. What's the point of being polite with him? Su-hai frowned, seeming to have made up his mind, and went straight to the point. We won't hide it from you anymore. Xiao-chun has a kidney problem. The doctor said he needs a kidney transplant, otherwise. It's life-threatening. You were tested for a match before, and your kidney is suitable. I still didn't react. Zhao Man couldn't hold back anymore and said with a sob, Lin Chao, Mom is begging you. You're his own brother. Your kidney is the most likely to match. Please save Xiao-chun. You're young and strong. It's okay to lose one kidney, but Xiao-chun can't live without it. Su-chun also raised his head at the right time, with tearful eyes and a choked voice. Brother, I know I was ignorant before and made you angry. I'll definitely change in the future and listen to everything you say. Please give me a chance to live, okay? They started their tearful performance with sobs and cries. I had actually seen the plot. I had long known their purpose. Their goal from the beginning was to bring me home to prepare a kidney transplant for Su-chun. But this plot should have happened much later, but now it appeared ahead of schedule. I thought it must be my strength that made them feel that they couldn't delay any longer. So they staged this scene. I slowly opened my eyes, my gaze calmly sweeping over each of them, finally landing on Su-wan, who had been staring at me with venomous eyes. Are you done? I asked indifferently. Seeing that I was so unresponsive, Su-wan finally tore off her mask of false kindness. She suddenly stood up straight, pointed at me, and said sharply, Lin Chao, don't act dumb here. Look at what you've done to this family since you came back. Letting you donate a kidney is giving you a chance to make up for it. You owe this family, you owe Xiao-chun. I'm telling you, you have to agree today, whether you want to or not. Looking at Su-wan's face, which was distorted by excitement and meanness, my annoyance reached its peak. I chuckled and stood up from the sofa, facing Su-wan. All right, I've had enough fun. It's time to do the mission. I took a step forward, and the aura around me began to turn icy, as if the temperature in the living room had dropped instantly. Su-wan was intimidated by my momentum and took a half step back instinctively, bumping into the antique display shelf, but she still spoke toughly. What do you want to do? This is my home. You wouldn't dare to do anything, would you? Warning. Detecting that the host has a strong intent to destroy the mission target, Su-wan. This action deviates severely from the warm family bond's main storyline. Please stop immediately. Otherwise, the mission will be deemed a failure. The system's alarm sounded sharply in my mind. I directly shielded it with my mind. I didn't waste any more words. I pointed my fingers like a sword and pointed at Su-wan in the air. A palm-sized, pitch-black, myriad souls banner, surrounded by countless painful and twisted shadows, flashed out from my sleeve and hovered in the air. The mournful wails weren't heard through the ears, but directly affected the soul. A chilling wind blew, and the crystal chandelier in the living room shook violently, the light flickering uncertainly. Su-hai, Zhao Man, and Su-chun were hit as if by an invisible heavy hammer, and collapsed directly to the ground with rolling eyes, unconscious. Then, phantoms of the three appeared in the sky above the myriad souls banner. These were their souls. In the wheelchair, Su-chun watched this hellish scene unfold before his eyes. A gurgling sound came from Su Chen's throat, unable to make any noise. Extreme fear enveloped him. His crotch quickly became wet, and the pungent smell of urine spread, indicating that he had been directly scared into incontinence. I turned my gaze to him, as if looking at a struggling fly in a spider web. I slowly walked up to him and looked down at him condescendingly. "Now, it's quiet," I said faintly, removing the suppression of his voice. Ghost, devil, you're not human. You're a devil." Su-chan was finally able to make a sound, but it was a heart-wrenching, inhumanly terrifying scream. Tears streamed down his face, and his entire face was twisted with fear. He desperately tried to shrink back, but the wheelchair restricted all his movements. "Don't kill me. Don't kill me. Brother. Lin Chao. No. Sir. Immortal sir. Please. Spare me. Spare my worthless life." Then Su-chan slapped his already swollen and aching face left and right, the sounds echoing loudly, and blood soon spilled from the corners of his mouth again. "Your kidney is infinitely precious. How can my worthless life be worthy of it? I deserve to die. I deserve to die." He beat and cursed himself, afraid that hitting too lightly would anger me. I snorted coldly, "Humph, don't think I don't know. You set up this whole thing. The kidney failure, you bribed a doctor to make a fake diagnosis. Your aim was to kill me during the transplant." Hearing me reveal the truth, Su-chan abruptly stopped his hands in shock, but in the next second, he began to kowtow. "I was wrong. I really know I was wrong. I shouldn't have framed you. I shouldn't have tried to take what's yours. I shouldn't have acted pathetic in front of Mom and Dad. Everything in the Lin family is yours. I don't want anything. I only beg you to spare my life. Just let me go. I can leave. I'll leave the Lin family immediately. I'll never show my face again. I swear. Please don't kill me." I chuckled. "Have fun, I won't kill you." Really? Don't rush to thank me." I interrupted him, a hint of playfulness in my voice. "You're spared the death penalty, but not the living one. You're still a little useful to me." I stood up, no longer looking at him, and turned my gaze to the myriad souls banner floating in midair, ceaselessly wailing. With a thought, a strand of black mist separated from the banner, and 3 solid and powerful souls were stripped out. One was once an unrivaled demonic overlord. One was an immortal sect elder I had slain, and the last was the soul of a fierce ancient demon beast. They trembled under my will, exhibiting only absolute obedience. "Go!" I flicked my finger. 3 streaks of black light shot into the bodies of the unconscious Su Hai, Zhao Man, and Su Wan. Almost simultaneously, the 3 bodies shuddered violently. Then their eyes snapped open. Their gazes were initially somewhat confused, but quickly replaced by an absolute reverence and fanaticism. They stiffly got to their feet, stood neatly in front of me, then bowed deeply, shouting in unison, "Master!" Su-chan lay on the floor, watching this bizarre and terrifying scene, completely dumbfounded. His parents and sisters still looked the same, but their temperament and eyes had completely changed, becoming strange and frightening, as if they were just puppets wearing the skin of his loved ones. I nodded in satisfaction, then lifted the block on the system. "Warning: detection of unknown soul power invading mission targets. Severely disrupting the world line. Warning." The system went into a frenzy of alarms as soon as it was restored. "What's all the noise?" I replied coldly in my mind. "Check the mission progress." At this moment, Su Hai, Zhao Man, and Su Wan, possessed by demonic souls, looked at me with burning eyes, using a near operatic, yet utterly insincere tone of voice said, "Chao, we love you. You are the only son/brother we love. We were blinded by greed before, and actually mistreated you. You are the only heir to the Lin family. Everything we have is yours." Listening to these people who used to defend him, now uttering such heartless words, Su Chen's face turned as pale as paper, and his body trembled like a leaf in the autumn wind. I smiled, sweeping my gaze over these 3 family members with a teasing expression, then pointed to the slumped Su-chan on the floor, and slowly asked, "Oh? Then, what about him? What happens to Su-chun?" The three of them turned their heads in unison, their gazes coldly fixed on Su-chun, their expressions as if looking at a pile of disgusting trash. "Su-chen," Zhao Man sneered, her face full of disgust. "Does this animal who stole my son's life for over a decade even deserve to be named Lin?" Su-hai was expressionless, his tone grim. "A vile swindler, surviving by lies and schemes, he's simply defiling the reputation of my Lin family." Su-won was even more direct. A fierce glint flashed in her eyes, and she casually picked up a sharp fruit knife from the nearby coffee table, walking towards Su-chun step by step, a cruel arc spreading across her lips. This kind of garbage, of course, has to be cleaned up, lest he dirty the master's eyes. "No. Don't. Mom, Dad, Sister, what's wrong with you? I am Xiao Chen." Su-chun cried out in despair, moving backwards on all fours, dragging a wet trail across the floor. "Brother, Lin Chao, you promised not to kill me. You promised." I spread my hands, looking completely innocent. "I didn't do anything." Before the words were finished, Zhao Man had already reached Su-chun, and in his desperate and incredulous gaze, raised the fruit knife high. The sharp blade accurately pierced Su-chen's heart. Su-chen's body stiffened violently, his eyes widened, staring fixedly at Zhao Man, as if trying to find a trace of the past warmth on that familiar face. But he only saw a cold, murderous desire. Blood gurgled from his chest, and his life force rapidly drained away. "Why?" He uttered the last few indistinct syllables, his head tilted, and he died. I looked at Su-chen's corpse and Zhao Man standing beside the corpse, holding the dripping knife, staring at me with fanaticism, waiting for the next instruction, and nodded in satisfaction. In my mind, I spoke leisurely to the deathly still system space. "System, you see, the fake young master Lin Qingyu's plot has been completely exposed and resolved. And my biological parents and sister have given their sincere love and recognition. I'm the only family member they love, right? So I asked with a smile, word by word, 'My mission, is it complete? Where's my reward?' The system was silent for a full 10 seconds before the mechanical voice sounded again. 'Warning, mission assessment in progress. Behavior exhibits serious violations. Using unconventional methods to distort the will of mission targets does not meet the core definition of sincere love and recognition. Mission failed. Fail.' I chuckled, slowly stretching my wrists, the aura around me no longer concealed in the slightest. The terrifying pressure of a supreme celestial demon, like a tide, surged out, instantly filling the entire consciousness space, even causing the system interface to flicker violently, as if it would collapse at any moment. "You're playing word games with me?" I looked up, my gaze seeming to pierce through the virtual interface, directly at its core. "From the beginning, you never intended for me to complete the mission, did you?" "Host, please calm down. System assessment is absolutely fair." "Fair?" I interrupted it, my voice filled with ridicule and a hint of cold sarcasm. "You weren't so hesitant when absorbing my power." The system interface froze abruptly. "You thought I couldn't feel it?" I stepped forward, each step causing the consciousness space to shake. Coming here, I should have been able to inherit my cultivation, yet felt tired, hungry. This was already suspicious. It was you, secretly drawing on my original demonic essence to maintain your own operation, even nurturing your hidden motives. The system's mechanical voice began to sharpen. "Nonsense. This system is the embodiment of rules. How could it?" "Rules?" I laughed heartily, my laughter full of contempt. "Bullshit rules. You're just a parasite that has stolen the authority of the heavenly Tao. Your true intention for giving me this task was not to send me back, but to complete the final absorption and assimilation of this small world's heavenly Tao essence through me, this protagonist. Am I right?" I extended my right hand, palm up, strands of jet black soul energy, containing countless painful wails, gathered and intertwined within. They resonated with my own power and even echoed with a core point deep within the system. You felt good when you were absorbing my power, didn't you? A cruel curve formed on my lips. Too bad you were too greedy and didn't notice how many little gifts I sent in through the channel you were using to absorb my power. Did you really think that this one wouldn't notice his own power was fading? Did you really think that this one would play such childish games? I was simply waiting for an opportunity when you violated your own rules, and when you are at your weakest. I stared at the increasingly violent ball of energy in my palm, slowly uttering the last few words. Now, explode. No. Detection of ultra-high-risk soul contamination. Core protocol under unknown assault. Initiate emergency purge. Annihilation. Immediately annihilate host. The system issued a violent alarm, the entire interface instantly turning a blinding crimson, and countless destructive code torrents surged towards my soul consciousness like sharp swords. However, facing this annihilating force that could instantly destroy a true immortal, I simply curled my lip in disdain. Kill me? With your stolen fragments of authority? I didn't even adopt a defensive stance, simply waving my hand casually at the surging crimson torrent. Disperse. As I spoke, so it was. The terrifying purge program froze abruptly in its advance, as if hitting an invisible, absolute barrier, then starting from the edges crumbled inch by inch, turning into the most basic data streams, dissipating without a trace. Next, the entire system space began to collapse. Crack, crack, like a shattered mirror, the virtual interface, the cold notification sounds, the blood-red alarms. Everything began to disintegrate. Impossible. What exactly are you? The system's voice was fragmented, filled with disbelief and the fear of its final moments. I did not answer. Before it was completely annihilated, I slightly spread my fingers and gently grabbed at the collapsing center of the system core. A faint stream of light, containing a unique aura of rules, tried to escape, but was precisely grasped in my palm. Everything returned to silence. Consciousness returned to reality. I was still standing in the Lin family's living room. At my feet was Su Chen's still warm corpse, and beside me were the 3 family members, controlled by demonic souls, their eyes filled with fanaticism. I opened my palm, and a nail-sized, crystal-clear fragment lay quietly in my palm. It emitted a faint light, which was a trace of the remaining essence of the heavenly Tao. A decent harvest. I contentedly put away the fragment. Although a lot of power was lost, I got this thing. If I wasn't mistaken, this should be a heavenly Tao fragment. But exactly which world's heavenly Tao was it? And why did it guide me here to absorb this small world's heavenly Tao? Just as I was wrapping the fragment with supreme demonic yuan, preparing to forcibly erase the remaining will within and completely convert it to my own use. The space in the center of the living room twisted and tore without warning, forming a portal emitting a hazy, clear light. The spatial fluctuations were stable and powerful, not of mortal means. A figure stepped out from it. The newcomer was dressed in a moon-white Taoist robe, his long hair tied up with a simple wooden hairpin. His face seemed young, but his eyes contained the vicissitudes of eons. His aura was harmonious and restrained, subtly resonating with the rules of this small world, yet transcending them. His cultivation realm was actually on par with mine, also an existence that touched the threshold of the supreme venerable of the myriad realms. His gaze swept over the scene in the living room, the corpse on the floor, the 3 fanatically staring puppets, and me, holding a jet-black fragment, my aura demonic and sinister. His brow furrowed imperceptibly, but without much surprise, as if he had seen all kinds of bizarre and outlandish things. Who are you, and what are you doing in this realm? I was filled with vigilance towards this suddenly appearing person. After all, I didn't know what he was here to do. This old one is Qing Lan, supreme elder of the Spirit Creek sect. He spoke, his voice calm, yet carrying an undeniable authority. His gaze landed on the fragment of heavenly Tao in my hand. Are you the one who was brought to this world bound by this heaven-devouring fragment? My heart stirred, but my face remained impassive. I toyed with the crystal called the heaven-devouring fragment between my fingers, secretly gathering demonic essence. So what if I am? You cross countless realms, surely not just to play hero and meddle in mortal affairs. The man shook his head, and with a wave of his hand, a fragment identical to the one I had captured appeared in his palm. Seeing the fragment in his hand, my brow furrowed slightly. He slowly began to speak, recounting the cause and effect. Before, a disciple in our small world suddenly underwent a drastic change in temperament, and his talent became terrifyingly powerful. Later, I searched his soul and discovered he had been possessed. The soul came from another small world. After killing the soul, I found a spirit body called a system within it. After destroying it, I obtained this fragment. As he spoke, he flew closer to me, presenting the fragment before my eyes. At first, I also thought it was just an ordinary blessing of heavenly Tao, and tried to refine it. Immortal Qinglan continued, his expression becoming grave. However, during the refinement process, I sensed that its origin did not come from any of the known great worlds. The devouring rule it contained was extremely domineering, capable of subtly influencing the holder's mind, and faintly pointed to countless coordinates like this world. He looked at me, his gaze sharp. It is not unowned. It is consciously binding to strong individuals, projecting them into my world, extracting the world's origin, and even devouring a portion of the bound individual's power and characteristics. Have you not noticed any loss of your own strength? I snorted coldly, taking it as tacit consent. It seemed this old fellow knew quite a bit about the inside story. Afterwards, in order to find a real culprit, I went to the great thousand worlds, wandering through the various worlds. And I did indeed see many of these things called systems. But most of the time when I arrived, it was too late. Their great worlds had already been occupied by the so-called protagonists they chose, and they had devoured most of the power of that world, then disappeared. Until I saw you. He pointed to the fragment in my hand, and slowly said, "You are the only one, besides me, who has escaped the control of this system. So what are your guesses about this thing?" I looked at the fragment in his hand and asked. Qinglan nodded. "I suspect these things all come from the same heavenly Tao, and behind it, there is definitely an existence manipulating everything. His purpose should be the heavenly Tao power of the great thousand worlds and the power of the strong individuals from other worlds. And we are one of his prey." I weighed the fragment in my hand, and a cold arc appeared on the corner of my lips. "Prey." I chuckled. "This old one has roamed countless realms. I have only ever hunted others. It seems this game is a little more interesting than I thought." Interesting. Just then, a voice suddenly echoed from the void. We were both shocked and looked in the direction of the sound. A mysterious figure in a cloak appeared in the sky. Qinglan and I exchanged a look and unhesitatingly chose to attack, because I felt the same power from him as from that fragment. Great wilderness imprisoning heaven palm. Heavenly demon massacre life finger. However, the cloaked figure seemed to have no intention of entanglement. Facing our enraged attacks, he merely waved his sleeve lightly. An invisible barrier appeared, and our attacks landed on it, causing no ripples at all. The time is not yet ripe. I look forward to the day I truly meet the two seeds. The hoarse voice held an unspeakable hint of playfulness. Before the words finished, the space behind him twisted again, forming a deep vortex, and his figure instantly disappeared into it. Our attacks had failed. Chase. Almost instantaneously, we agreed. Then we opened a spatial gate, tracking the traces of his power, and chased after him. But to our surprise, we arrived in the great thousand worlds. This was a void, surrounded by countless world bubbles, each world bubble being a small world. Eventually, we locked onto his location. It was a very small world, seemingly without even spiritual energy. After we entered, we found ourselves in a palace, surrounded by high walls, with only a small palace in front. Where's this place? I looked at everything around me, feeling unfamiliar. It looks like a mortal imperial palace. Qinglan looked around, answering somewhat uncertainly. I also looked around, suddenly noticing something very important. His traces, they seem to be gone. Indeed, they have completely disappeared. Immortal Qinglan swept his divine sense across the surroundings, his brow furrowed tightly. And this world seems to be rejecting us cultivators. He looked at his hand, muttering to himself. I also felt an extremely strong restraint, and the circulation of my demonic essence had become much more difficult. This world's heavenly Tao rules are solid and reject transcendence. It seems that fellow deliberately lured us here. Just then, from the palace not far ahead, a majestic voice came. Who's outside? Liang, go take a look. Immediately after, a steady and capable male voice responded. Yes, Your Majesty.